In basketball, you have three main classifications for hoopers. You have the humble, you have the confident, and you have the cocky. Everybody tends to like the humble player, but they are somewhat of a pushover and they're a little soft. Then for the confident and the cocky hoopers, there's a fine line. Almost every person you talk to has a different opinion on what's cocky and what's being confident. But for me, I don't think it's as complicated as people make it out to be. And here's where I stand on it. Confidence is silent, but insecurities are loud. If you don't know what that means, let me break it down for you. People that are confident, not just in basketball, but anything they do in life, they don't have to talk about it or brag about it. A great and a perfect example of that is rich people. Have you ever noticed or paid attention to that the richest people in the world, or just rich people in general, they normally don't flex or talk about how much money they have? There's a reason for that. They know they have money, so they don't have to talk about it. They don't care if people think they are broke because at the end of the day, they know what they are. On the flip side, it's normally the middle class or the poor class that are trying to look rich. People that live check to check are the ones wanting others to believe that they can afford all this Gucci and Louis Vuitton. But in reality, at the end of the day, they really can't. They're wearing all that stuff because they're insecure about their financial status. Therefore, when you're insecure about something, you try to prove to others that you have it. That's why people who have money don't talk about getting money or even act like they do. I think you get the point by now, and also another example for my people in high school, here's a great one. The guys that claim they get all these girls normally don't get any. The guys that do get the girls don't really talk about it, and I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. With all that being said, and the fact that I just rambled about being confident is not talking about your abilities, I do think there's one other side to it. If you trash talk and talk about how good you are, and you can back it up, I wouldn't even say that's cocky. You're just confident and you can prove it. Where it gets to the point where it's labeled cocky, at least in my opinion, is when you talk about how good you are and you can't back it up. Even if you can back it up, am I saying that's good? No, but at the same time, you gotta have that ego and swagger. In this world we currently live in, you either kill or get killed, so you might as well be the killer. Finding the line between cocky and confident is very slim though, so you gotta do what works best for you. We just spent a very long time talking about the three main categories of a basketball player. And what's crazy about all that is there's not just three. There is one rare category that only a couple of players are in. And that category is what I like to call delusional. Some hoopers out there aren't just cocky, but they say stuff that doesn't even make sense. And in today's video, we're gonna dive into the time that this one guy made one of the most delusional statements ever, and he may be one of the most delusional hoopers in high school basketball history. We're also on the road to 100K, so if you love the content, what are you doing? Join the family, hit that subscribe button, leave a like for more, and without further ado, let's dive into the video. To get into this story, we gotta throw it all the way back to the year 2019. Now, before we get into that, I just wanna let you know that this isn't the main part of the story, but as you all know, we gotta build up to it. And this was a key part and element to it, so we gotta talk about this first. So in early 2019, this is when Julian Newman faced off against Lamelo Ball. And even to this day, this is arguably the most clouded and anticipated high school matchup of all time. Is it because these two guys are the best players of all time? No, but it's because of their presence on social media. Both of these young men were social media stars from the jump. Ironically, their fathers are the blame to this, or whatever you want to call it, because they're the ones that seek all the attention. Ever since this game and ever since the year of 2019, I can say that LaMelo's dad is somewhat taking a back seat. But for Julian's dad, well, it's Julian's dad. This matchup was also between the teams known as Spire Academy and Downey Christian. Let's not joke around with ourselves, we knew this game wasn't going to be close. But it didn't matter, it was still going to be awesome to see. Going into this game, like I stated, we knew Spire was probably going to win, but we didn't care about that. We wanted to see how good Julian Newman could do against real legit competition. Well, he not only folded and disappointed, but he had a miserable performance. I don't even think words do it enough justice at how bad he was during this game. The only word I can even think of to define it is atrocious. On the good side, Julian finished with 15 points, which when you hear that, you think, hey, that's not too bad. But he had 15 points on a 6 from 25 shooting performance from the field. 6 for 25. That's right, you heard it correctly. That's roughly in the range of 20%. Needless to say, it's very bad. Not only did he have a bad shooting night, but he was getting clowned out there. He was having turnover after turnover after turnover. It got to the point where it was so bad it was laughable that the other team was just laughing at him trying to do moves. And of course, he got clowned by the student section, but that happened at every game. For Lamelo Ball, he had what I like to call a Lamelo Ball performance. Nothing crazy, but it was an easy game for him. He had a triple-double, which is kind of crazy to think that was normal for him, but he had 14 points, 12 assists, and 10 rebounds. I'm gonna try to sum this up real quick, but anyways, they wound up winning 117 to 80, and it wasn't even that close. I know. You're probably thinking that's what humbled Julian, but it wasn't. Julian knew and his dad knew going into this game they wasn't going to win. So losing to them, even though it was by almost 40, wasn't that big of a deal. That game happened early in 2019 around January, so let's flash forward in time to almost 2 to 3 months after. This is when Lamelo Ball and Julian Newman linked up again for an open run. A lot of people were calling it Lamelo Ball versus Julian Newman 2.0. In this matchup 2.0, it wasn't a legit game, all it was some private runs. It was some good 5-on-5 games, and Lamelo Ball and Julian Newman were on separate teams. And in this open run, everybody was really just walking around and chilling, but you know Julian, he was going 100% full speed and he was sweating. There's nothing wrong with that, a lot of people are going to try to joke on him for that, but hey, he's just trying to win. If I'm being 100% honest, I don't like playing with people that don't try. I want a guy that's going 100% like Julian does. But he was playing with a lot of taller players and a lot of better players, and this is where the moment happened. You could tell that there was some bad blood going on between Lamelo and Julian. Even though it may have not been from Lamelo's side, Julian had something to prove. The fact that 2 months prior Julian got smacked by Lamelo's team by 40 and everyone joked on him, you could tell it was eating at him. Julian can say what he wants, but all that trash talk he receives online, I know it gets at him. Ironically, in this matchup of the 5-on-5, Lamelo Ball spent most of the day guarding Julian, and it was vice versa. When Lamelo had the ball and Julian was on him, he either A, drove past him and dunked it, laid it up, or B, shot over him. It didn't matter what Julian tried to do on defense because Lamelo Ball was just taller than him and more explosive and more athletic and could also shoot a little better. But on the defensive side for Lamelo, this is where things got just bad. Every single time Newman went down the court, Lamelo was guarding him but standing straight up and not even trying while Julian was spamming dribble moves. And every single time Julian would go to drive, Lamelo would allow him to pass him and then he would block his shot. It's almost like he was daring him to drive because he knew he was going to pin it on the backboard. There was a ton of times and examples, but let's just roll this clip. I don't know if you paid attention or could hear it good enough, but when Lamelo pinned that on the backboard, he said, "Give me that, you know what." They was at that gym playing for the rest of the night, and it was much of the same. Julian trying his absolute hardest, and Lamelo clowning around and still being better than him. But hold on, what makes this even funnier is the fact that Julian Newman said this.
Said you defeat Lamelo Ball in a one-on-one situation. Say that did happen. What do you think you would do better than Lamelo?
I just think he can't guard me. You know what I'm saying? And my ability to shoot the ball, you know what I'm saying, for so deep, I don't think he can guard me.
In that interview, he said that he doesn't think Lamelo can guard him. That's very interesting. Do I need to show you the previous clip once again? The fact that he doesn't think Lamelo can guard him and his team held him to 6 for 25 and then 2 months later in an open run, he pinned you on the backboard multiple times. Does that not say enough? What more proof does Julian need that Lamelo can guard him? Julian saying that he would beat Lamelo in a one-on-one and that Lamelo can't guard him, it isn't humble, it isn't confident, it isn't cocky, it's delusional. Julian's roughly 5'6", 5'7", and Lamelo is 6'7". To top that off, Lamelo is very athletic, very long and lanky, and he can defend almost any position 1 through 3. What's kind of even crazier about all of this is that ever since that date and that year of those videos and when all that stuff happened, Julian hasn't done any more talking. Ever since that game where Lamelo Ball's team embarrassed him and held him to 6 for 25 shooting, and then only 2 months later, Lamelo embarrassed him once again in an open run, Julian hasn't done any more talking. And then too, I can't forget, ever since that video where he basically said he's going to beat Lamelo one-on-one, he hasn't said anything else. I just really feel like that's what ultimately put the nail in the coffin and humbled Julian Newman forever. Don't get me wrong, he's still gonna have that ego to him, but it's not quite like it once was. That was the day and the turning point where he really realized he's not good enough to make it to the NBA. Growing up, he always talked about it and thought he would, but now he don't even bring it up. Fast forward in time to our current day, Lamelo is now one of the best rookies in the league and maybe one of the best rookies we've seen in probably 5 to 10 years. I don't think he should hold his head down too much, but that just goes to prove and to show you how good you gotta be to even beat Lamelo and be in the NBA. Let me know what you think about Julian down below, but with all that being said, that's going to wrap up this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something. If you're new to the channel, what are you doing? Join the family. Hit that subscribe button, leave a like for more. And as always, let's be great. I'm out, y'all. Peace.